This is Clean Life, and I'm Sequoia, leading you to discipline, devotion, and real transformation. Here with me is my radiologist, Nancy,
Hello, everyone.
along with the rest of the Clean Life team.
Good evening. Good evening.
And together we're guiding you through the 2026 The Whole Story Bible Study Reading Challenge. Go ahead and subscribe and tap the notification bell so you can stay consistent all year long. Tonight, we're reading Judges chapter 15. Judges chapter 15, the benefit of learning that strength without discipline creates unnecessary battles. Judges chapter 16, the benefits of knowing that the compromise weakens you, but repentance restores you. Let's dive in and grow together, chapter by chapter. Judges chapter 16. Samson vengeance on the Philistines. Later on, at the time of the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat and went to visit his wife. He said, "I'm going to my wife's room," but her father would not let him go in. "I was so sure you hated her," he said, "that I gave her to your companion. Isn't her younger sister more attractive? Take her instead." Samson said to them, "This time I have the right to get even with the Philistines. I'm really going to harm them." So he went out and caught 300 foxes and tied them tail to tail in pairs. He then fastened a torch to every pair of tails, lit the torches, and let the foxes loose in the standing grain of the Philistines. He burned up the shacks and standing grain, together with the vineyards and the olive groves. When the Philistines asked, "Who did this?" they were told, "Samson, the Timonite's son-in-law, because his wife was given to his companion." So the Philistines went up and burned her and the father to death. Samson said to them, "Since you acted like this, I swear that I won't stop until my revenge is on you." He attacked them viciously and slaughtered many of them. Then he went down and stayed in the cave in the rock of Edom. The Philistines went up and camped in Judah, spreading out near Lehi. The people of Judah asked, "Why have you come to fight us?" "We have come to take Samson prisoner," they answered, "to do him as he did to us." Then 3,000 men from Judah went down to the cave in the rock of Edom and said to Samson, "Don't you realize the Philistines are ruler over us?" "What have you done to us?" he answered. "I merely did to them what they did to me." They said to him, "We come to tie up you and hand you over to the Philistines." Samson said, "Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves." "Agreed," they answered. "We will only tie you up and hand you over to them. We will not kill you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and led him up from the rock. As he approached the Lehi and the Philistines came toward him shouting, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. The ropes on his arm became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands, finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey. He grabbed it and struck it down 1,000 men. Then Samson said, "With the donkey's jawbone, I have made donkey of them. With the donkey's jawbone, I have killed 1,000 men." And when he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone, and the place was called Ramat Lehi. Because he was very thirsty, he cried out to the Lord, "You have given your servant this great victory. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" Then the God opened up the hollow place in Lehi in the water and came out of it. When Samson drank, his strength returned and revived. So the springs was called in Hakor, and it's still there in Lehi. Samson led Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. End of Judges 15. Samson's response to betrayal with escalating acts of retaliation. Yet God uses his personal conflicts to strike the Philistines. His wife was given away. Samson returned to visit his wife and to learn her father gave her to another woman. In anger, Samson captures 300 foxes, ties them in pairs, attached torches, and burned the Philistine grain vineyards and olive groves. Philistine's retaliation. The Philistine burned Samson's wife and the father, and then the Jobon victory. When the Philistines come for him, Samson breaks free from the new ropes and kills 1,000 men with the donkey's jawbone. The place was named Ramoth Lehi, meaning jawbone hill. In the water from the rock, God miraculously provides water when Samson is exhausted. Even when Samson acts from emotion, God strengthens stills accomplish the divine judgment on Israel's oppressors. All right, God, now my mom will begin to read Judges chapter 16.
Judges chapter 16. Samson and Delilah. One day Samson went to Gaza where he saw a prostitute. He went in to spend the night with her. The people of Gaza were told, Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, at dawn we'll kill him. But Samson lay there only until the middle of the night. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate, together with the two posts, and tore them loose, bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, see if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him so we can tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. So Delilah said to Samson, tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued. Samson answered her, if anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. Then the rulers of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him with them. With men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snapped when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Then Delilah said to Samson, you have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now, tell me how you can be tied. He said, if anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. Then with men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Delilah then said to Samson, all this time you have been making a fool of me and lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied. He replied, if you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pinion, I'll become as weak as any other man. So while he was sleeping, Delilah took the 7 braids of his head, wove them into the fabric, and tightened it with the pinion. Again she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He awoke from his sleep, and pulled up the pinion and the loom with the fabric. Then she said to him, how can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength. With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it. So he told her everything. No razor has ever been used on my knees, because I have been a Nazarite dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me. and I will become as weak as any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her everything, she went she sent word to the rulers of the Philistines, come back once more. He has told me everything. So the rulers of the Philistines returned with the silver in their hands. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called for someone to shave off the 7 braids of his hair, and so began to subdue him, and his strength left him. Then she called, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He awoke from his sleep and thought, I'll go out as before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Then the Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him down to Gaza, binding him with bronze shackles. They set him to grinding grain in the prison. But the hair on his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. The death of Samson. Now the rulers of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to their God, and to celebrate, saying, Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste our land and multiplied our slain. While they were in high spirits, they shouted, Bring out Samson to entertain us. So they called Samson out of the prison, and he performed for them. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them. Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All the rulers of the Philistines were there. And on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Then Samson reached toward the two central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them, his right hand on the one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the roof, and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. Then his brothers and his father's whole family went down to get him. They brought him back and buried him between Zorah and Eshtal in the tomb of Manoah, his father. He had led Israel for 20 years. And that's the end of Judges chapter 16. And my takeaway from Judges chapter 16 is Judges chapter 16 narrates the tragic story of Samson, his relationship with Delilah, and the consequences of his choices, ultimately leading to his capture by the Philistines. Samson teaches us God is gracious to imperfect people. Don't let Samson's life become a license of sin, but let it teach you about the abundance of God's tolerance and kindness towards sinners. In Hebrews chapter 11, Samson's name is found alongside Abraham's, Joseph, and Moses's, who were great people of faith. And that's the end of Judges chapter 16.
All right, guys. So we just wrapped up Judges chapter 15 through 16. Now we move on a little further with the session on Romans 10, verse 9. My granddaughters to speak the prayer to give your life to the Lord. Woohoo!
Romans 10, verse 9. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Come as you are, and God will do the cleaning up.
All right, guys. Come as you are, and God will do the cleaning up. All right, guys. So that concludes the video. Nancy, do you have anything else you need to say?
Well, I was going to say that even though we know that Samson lived the way he did even though he was a Nazarite. We need to know and understand that God used what he had in him to defend them against the Philistines. And God knew that he had a propensity towards the Philistine people. And he knew
Mm-hmm.
that he had a propensity towards the women. And so God used his weakness as a strength that there may be, percussions towards them because of what they did when it came to Samson and his people. So God can use our
Yes.
weaknesses as strengths.
Yes. And also I wanted to add as well as sometimes we have to be careful that whatever God speak to us about ourselves, that we need to leave it between us and God. All right? Because if you notice, once he told um what was the secret between him and God, God left him. All right.
Amen.
So sometimes we got to be careful. We got to sometimes some things is only between us and God, right? And we have to be careful about saying what we don't. You know how like when we have to go through things because of our calling or our gift, and we was like, I'm tired of going through. Sometimes we just complain about it. We need to be careful because God hear that and He will take it and He can take it from us, right? And if you notice that He had to ask, like when he asked for that water, he said he was thirsty. You got to think about it that he had realized that God had gave him that power to be able to kill them men with their jawbones. And so once it was over, he realized that he didn't want God to leave him again. So he asked him, he says, "You're going to let these unclean Philistines, kill me? I'm thirsty. You're going to let me die?" Because he had realized that he needed God. He needed that power that God had gave him, that gift. He wanted it back. He didn't, what I'm saying? He didn't want that to happen to him again.
Amen.
Right? Yeah, so he came to realization that I really need you and I'm sorry. That I complained about, the fact that I couldn't get my hair cut and all that, and told them the secret. But please be with me. And then God was with him for 20 more years. They said he served for 20 more years after God, remember, gave him drink. He realized that he needed the thirst of water, that living water. He needed that anointing, to carry him out. And that came to me. I was like, my God, we have to be careful about, telling our secret, telling our gift, telling too much, rather. We don't need to share too much or what, because some things God wants between us and him. Do you agree with that, Nancy?
Yes.
Yes, and I saw that. I said, "Wow, I'm gonna stop complaining." You know what I'm saying? Because stuff get tough, and you might, say things, and then you may realize that, you know, my gift ain't as strong no more. You know what I'm saying? You might notice that. Like, I remember I used to know things. You know what I'm saying? Before it happened, like it was, it's because we got to be careful because God will begin to start pulling back, right?
Amen.
Until he see that, hey, I really need you. I can't do this on my own. All right, guys. So that's my takeaway from the whole thing, right? And just make sure, like, when it comes to how he was into these women, Delilah, and the other woman, how they was trying to trick him and all kind of stuff. We have to be careful too, like, who we choosing, you know, because
Amen.
like they was trying to set him up to take his strength. You know what I'm saying? But you got to remember that God told him in his mother womb what he was not supposed to do. Not to drink strong drink, not to cut his hair, because he was a Nazarite. You know what I'm saying? And God chose him. You know what
Amen.
I'm saying? So we should be thankful that when God point us out and choose us and call us and send us, we need to be thankful because it's a privilege. All right. So, okay. We appreciate your time, Clean Life. Share the inspiration by following us on Facebook and subscribing to Clean Life Sequoia on YouTube. Hold close the promise of Romans 10, verse 9, and know that you're surrounded by our love and God's love. All right, guys, then we'll see you next Friday. Until then, goodbye and have a prosperous weekend. And okay, I forgot. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hi, Happy New Year for you.
Yes, Happy New Year. Peace.